Hello and welcome to Toastmasters Beta Bay Television. Tonight, welcome to the show to our studio audience and our viewers out in TV land. Welcome. Tonight's program is different than programs you might have seen in the past. It's different in two respects. The first is that Beta Bay TV studio has turned it over to my home club, ProMasters. We meet every Thursday morning at 7:30 at Mimi's Cafe in Bridgepoint Plaza in San Mateo. So tonight you'll see 6 speakers, all from ProMasters. The second reason why we're different is that we are going to do projects from the Advanced Speaking Manual. Those 3 projects are: 1, an interviewee or a guest; second project is that of a host, which is yours truly; and the third part of the program tonight will be that of an editorial speech. And that'll be presented as a la Andy Rooney, very much an editorial speech. So look forward to that. There are 2 segments. I will be hosting the first segment, and our host, Spencer Hatfield, will be hosting the second. But before we introduce our guest, I'd like to thank Stan Eng, the producer of the show, for allowing ProMasters to come here tonight and present and compete for the project of communicating on video, as well as David, our director in the studio, as well as everybody else, Stacy, Audrey, Michael, and all our folks in the crew for coming out tonight and volunteering to produce this segment. Our first guest is a clinical psychologist who's been in practice for over 30 years. Her practice is in Redwood City, and she specializes in counseling couples, or really anybody who needs counseling, in a variety of areas. Tonight, our guest will talk to us about how you can have a thriving and long-lasting relationship with your spouse and others. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sandy Lillie. Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Tell me, how long, or well, we know, 30 years, what made you get started in, or why did you want to be a clinical psychologist?
Oh, I feel like I was a psychologist, and fortunately there was a profession that I could hang my hat on and do it and make a living. I feel like actually my professor, when I came to the Palo Alto VA for my internship, wrote a letter of recommendation and said I came as close to being a natural therapist as anybody that ever had in the program, and it feels like that. It's just being who I am, and lucky for me, there's a way to do it as a profession.
Terrific.
So.
What are the qualities that make a good therapist? What are some of the skill sets that one would need?
Actually, I think the most important quality in a good therapist is the ability to be authentically present with other people and genuinely interested in and compassionate towards them.
Well, I would think that compassion and empathy are 2 very big qualities that you'd need to have as a therapist. What is was it conceptually present, or how did you explain?
Authentically
present. What does that mean?
That means not role playing, not presenting a persona, a professional affectation or something like that, but actually being genuinely present with another human being to understand and accept who they are and offer perspectives or insights they might not have thought of.
Being a therapist must be quite stressful and difficult at times. I know the few times that I'd needed to consult with a therapist that I walked away thinking, how could that person listen to people like me for hours on end? How do you do that?
You know, people think that, and I don't experience it that way at all. I love working. That's what I do for joy and fulfillment. I guess I'm not focused on the unhappiness of the particular story or something like that. I'm focused on trying to make a difference, trying to be of use to somebody to make their lives better. And if I feel like I'm being successful in that, that makes me extremely happy. So I'm actually energized by the end of the day. I don't feel that way.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Maybe I ought to switch professions, because at the end of my day, all I want to do is look for a bottle of beer. So what type of clients do you see? Well, actually, we were going to talk about how your relationship can thrive and be long-lasting. What are some of the areas, what are some things that people can do to ensure that they do last and they thrive?
Well, in recent years, I've been exposed to an approach to couples counseling called emotionally focused therapy, which was developed especially by a woman named Sue Johnson up in Canada. She wrote this book, Hold Me Tight.
Oh.
It's subtitled 7 Conversations for a Lifetime of Love. And she drew on a lot of the same sources I've been drawing on for over the years. I did my dissertation on couple communication. But she pulled it together in a way that is very systematic and clear beyond what I was able to figure out on my own, pulling from different sources. And since I've been doing a lot of training in her approach, and since then there's been a really dramatic increase in my effectiveness, I feel.
Oh, terrific.
So, so what I'm going to say really, these are ideas that have been formulated by her. And so the first thing that she talks about is that it's very important that typically people have what we refer to as raw spots, areas that out of our past that we bring with us where we can get triggered, where we're going to have an especially strong reaction. It may be from our childhood or from our first marriage or from earlier in this relationship, but something where we get triggered and reactive, and it's too painful. You know, we react, and what typically happens with people is that they trigger each other. So if I get angry with you because that hurt, and I feel like you should have known that it would hurt me, and then now you feel criticized and blamed, and that's something that you've had to deal with before, and you're sick of it. So now you're angry with me, and so we're setting each other off. And
holy cow! I'm just seeing a flashback of my last argument with my wife.
Right. So what's important is not. I mean, everybody has triggers, has raw spots, gets triggered, gets into conflicts. Everybody hurts the people that they love and feels hurt by the people that they want to feel safe with. But what's important is not whether that happens. That will happen. It's part of being with other people. What's important is whether you know how to repair it.
Is there over your last 30 plus years, is there one more recurring issue that comes up amongst couples that is more prevalent either over the 30 years or recently, or something that you don't see anymore as a result of better education, better communication? Has there been something that you see that comes up all the time as a result of our societal pressures on couples?
Well, what causes couples to get stuck isn't the specific content of whatever they're fighting about. There are things that come in waves, definitely. In fact, that's really odd to me, because I'll get a whole bunch of something, and then I won't see that again for 10 years. And then I'll get a whole bunch of something else. Things do come in waves. But it's not, what's important is not the specific content that they're struggling with. What's important is how safely connected they are able to feel.
So Sandy, if our viewers want to get in touch with you, how do they find you?
I have a website, which
Terrific.
is sandylillie.com.
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 Terrific. Well, great. Well, we will look for you, and I'd love to have you back on the show, and maybe come and speak at our ProMasters Club about the book on Hold Me Tight.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to now introduce our editorial speaker, Ray Mercado, who is also a ProMaster, and I welcome the opportunity to have him appear today. Thanks, Ray. Take it away.
Use it or lose it. Have you ever missed an opportunity that could have made your life easier had you acted? This is the idea or mantra I would like to suggest to all of you to adopt, if you have not already done so. I would like for you to include this concept of use it or lose it as part of your daily life to ensure that you remain at peak performance, which in turn will boost your self-esteem and confidence. But what exactly is use it or lose it? One of these terms' origins comes from vacation days that expire if not used. You're given a certain number of paid vacation days a year, but you must use them before the end of the fiscal year. If you don't use them, you can't get a refund or roll these over the next year. If you intend to use these vacation days, but for some reason decided not to plan ahead, you'll lose them. They're gone. Hence, they're called use-lose days. There's another word in the phrase in this use it or lose it. One way people use the word it is that gift that one has that will make him or her successful, that sets him or her apart from everyone else. People also often say when someone's got that gift that he's got it or she's got it. Does this motto really hold true when applying to other things? It sure does apply when purchasing a gym membership. If you buy the membership without ever exercising in the gym, you lose the value you intend to have for it. So, use it or lose it. What about muscle use? We all know about muscle atrophy, that if you don't use your muscles to stimulate muscle growth, your body over time will reduce the amount of muscle in response you have, and in turn you will become weaker. So use it or lose it. Now, how about brain activity? Studies show that those that engage in stimulating mental activity in advanced age are less likely to develop memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. So in this sense, use it or lose it. Moreover, even in this venue of public speaking and better communication of Toastmasters, if you don't practice your communication skills, your ability to communicate in crucial moments will naturally deteriorate due to disuse. Now, more generally, knowledge of what you know to be good habits are not good enough. Your knowledge, wisdom, talent, and potential are not enough. Continually, you'll have to put what you know and what is right into practice to maintain your strengths. So, use it or lose it.
Welcome back to Toastmasters Beta Bay. I am your host, Spencer Hatfield. Our next segment is jam-packed with unique insights on women, business, and technology. Our Pro Masters humorous speech champion and technology guru, Rachana Srivastava, is here. And our editorial, 3 weeks to the day, a new mother, professional coach from the Harp Family Institute, Trisha Harp, is here. So we do have a jam-packed section, so let's get right into it. Let me introduce Rachana Srivastava.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. I'm so happy to be here.
Wonderful. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So before we get into the meat of our conversation, what I really want to do is help our viewers get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you've worked with some of the most notable technology companies, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. So before I talk about my background or my technology background, let me take you back. I was born and raised in India, and female child are not considered to be something which people welcome in India, and especially like even few years back, people used to get their daughters married as early as possible, and because so much dowry is involved in that. So when I was growing up, I have seen my relatives, they treat their son differently than their daughters, and I'm so happy that I don't have a brother. We are 3 sisters, and because I just could not deal with my parents treating my brother differently than treating me. So that led me to every action I have taken in my life, I have kept that perspective of the fighting in mind. So when I was growing up, first thing you learn is women, they cannot do mathematics. That's it. So that moment in 5th grade is not because I loved mathematics. I decided that I am going to do masters in mathematics, if not PhD.
Wow. Now, you work, like we said, you work for some of the most notable names in technology, and I'll let you tell everyone what they are. But one can assume you're a very well-educated person. And I think it goes without saying, if you're a very well-educated person, you don't get there by an accident. But you took a rather interesting path in choosing your areas of study. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, all the things that I have done is not because what I wanted to do, is because I heard that's something you cannot do. Women cannot learn technology, I wanted to learn technology. Women cannot do mathematics, I wanted to do mathematics. And even like few years back, I went back to school, I was doing, in US, I was doing my master's MBA in MBA, and I asked my professor, which subject should I take for my specialization for MBA?
What did he say?
He said, oh, you should not do finance because women in their late 30s in finance, that's not the field you should be in. You should either do HR or marketing. And that's the point I've decided, no matter how bad the financial market is, and that was the time financial market was collapsing. But still, I did my master's in finance. And I'm very happy about that.
I'm glad that you're happy about it. Now, no, this is 2008, financial markets collapsing, and you have a master's in statistics. What were you thinking at that moment?
Actually, when I was doing something, only thing that I had in my mind is I wanted to do the things that they say we cannot do. That's the only thing I think. Beside that, I don't think about anything else. Where I go, I don't know.
I think that is a fantastic attitude, and I think it perfectly sets up a clip. You have a clip for us, don't you?
Yes, and this clips talk about what I really, really wanted to convey to you. So let's roll in.
All right, let's see that clip.
Met a woman that can drive a boat.
Paul. Women can do anything, including drive
you're
boats.
absolutely wrong. They can't. They have no grasp at all of technology. I'm sorry.
We'll prove this one day. We'll take Paul out on a boat and I'll get a couple of females down to show
I'll tell you an
how
interesting
it's
thing.
Challenge him to a boat race. I think you could take him. I really do.
No, look, I'll tell you an interesting thing. That shows how wrong you are. I'll tell you an interesting thing. You get your mail next to a piece of technology. Not every mail. This is generalising, of course, but it's accurate, given that it's generalising. You get your mail in a piece of technology, and they have some inherent understanding of the size of it, the power of it, whether it's going fast or slow. You put a female in that piece of technology, no idea at all. No idea where the edges of it are, you know.
That's a very technical.
I know that I'm supposed to be saying, I can't believe he just said that. But I think you would probably agree that there are a lot of men and women who share that mindset. Is that correct? And if not, what can be done about it?
The thing is, it's not about whether it's correct or not. Whatever you want to think, you can think about it. But as a woman or as any one of us, it's up to us to react to it. If he is saying something, that's his viewpoint. But if I become a good technologist and if I become CEO of IBM tomorrow, then that's it. Nobody has to say anything. Even if they say, it's worth nothing. So it's our journey. We have to raise ourselves to a level where nobody can even beat it.
And you pointed out that there is a scarcity of high-level women executives in business and in particular technology. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about how you think that can change.
Actually, that's I have not reached the level that I wanted to reach, and one of the reasons for that is that women tend to not take much risk. And I have not done much, I have not taken much risk. I stayed with IBM for 9 years, not because I was getting promoted throughout, just because I was feeling so secure in that big company. And security won't lead you to the level that you want to reach. It will just help you survive. So you have to take risk, and that's the only way we can grow. And as a woman, we have this tendency to hold to security, and that's the thing that we have to break.
Now, I would be scared to death if women started behaving just like men. Is that what you're advocating?
I'm not advocating behavior. I'm advocating women should think like men. You have to change your thinking, and if you change your thinking, you will achieve the goals that men has achieved till now.
Now, I've heard of the business community, sometimes it's been referred to as the big boys club. Do you think that there are any ingrained cultural, call them cultural constructs that are preventing women from ascending to the top levels of business?
It's many. There are many things. Women are not taking risk. Women are not very visible. Women are not very vocal. And these all things you have to. We just do things in technology. Like there are 100 men and 1 woman with whatever viewpoint. She will not even say something that they want to say. So you have to make yourself visible, and the company should also make an effort to raise women, to make sure that the women viewpoint are heard in the society, in the company, in the organization.
Rachana, thank you. There's never enough time. I'm very glad to have talked with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. Our editorial speaker, Trisha Heart, is going to tell us one of the reasons why anyone can have more personal satisfaction, especially entrepreneurs. Trisha?
Thank you, Spencer. Thank you. Having grown up in an entrepreneurial household, being married to an entrepreneur, and now being an entrepreneur myself, our move from Ohio to the Bay Area 7 years ago was like coming home. It's been comforting and enlightening being around so many entrepreneurs and spouses of entrepreneurs who all genuinely understand the roller coaster ride we face every day. The catchphrases, "It's lonely at the top" and "the buck stops here," takes on a whole new meaning when you are an entrepreneur. For those who are married, however, we've learned that although you may not realize it all the time, your spouse truly is your #1 supporter. So it's really important to keep them in the loop. Based on new data from my research and coaching firm, the Harp Family Institute, we've learned a great deal recently about satisfaction within couples where at least one individual is an entrepreneur. The data shows that entrepreneurs who set long-term shared family and business goals with their significant others scored higher in every single area of satisfaction than those who didn't, including overall life satisfaction. Well, we looked at about 16 different measures of satisfaction and found that those who set the long-term shared goals were upwards of 32% happier than those who didn't create a shared vision with their partners. This point is really about creating buy-in from your significant other. Because if you have a shared vision that has components that are important to both of you, well, that'll make this roller coaster journey a little easier. But if you want one thing out of life and your spouse wants something completely different, well, that can present real challenges. Like many pro athletes who practice Maxwell Maltz's theory of Imagineering, as described in his book Psycho-Cybernetics, Over the years, my husband and I have spent a lot of time visualizing in detail and talking about why we're on this journey together and what we hope to accomplish. But really, what's impacted me the most was when I realized that I would eventually be able to fund my own business dreams. For me, that became a huge part of my continued buy-in and support of his business, that someday I could do this research from a position of strength, and that someday it would be my turn. So my challenge for you is to set aside some time to sit down with your significant other and come up with a shared vision for your future. Be sure to identify both business and family goals for today, next year, and 10 years from now. The outcome may just surprise and inspire both of you.
Thank you, Tricia. Now, I want to give you a testimonial. My significant other and I tried just the advice you suggested, coming up with shared goals, and it was tremendous what it did for our communication. I've been very fortunate to have an excellent cast, an excellent crew, and I want to let everyone out there know on Beta Bay that District 4 has competitions in September, and you can learn more about our competitions on the District 4 website. Special thanks to Stan Ng, Daisy Wang, producers, cast, and crew. Good night.